Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and salutation to you elect brothers across the four corners of this earth, pushing this word of sincerity and truth. It was really on my spirit to do a video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but we all know what day's coming up on Sunday. And to the average Joe, the day will be considered Mother's Day. You know, with us being the truth, we know all these so-called holidays always go back to some pagan, Babylonian, Grecian, Egyptian, Roman bullshit. You know what I mean? And when you're not celebrating it, we're demonized amongst all these peons, but they don't know nothing, man. But again, you got this day coming up, Mother's Day, and it was just on my spirit to really just do a little bit of research on it. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it had to be some type of goddess or something that they worshiped on that day, but I really never just did no deep research on it, okay? But, I'm just going to type it in here really quick. Origins of Mother's Day. And, I'm just going to go step by step a few little things, but it was quite interesting as I read it, and of course, going to pull out a few scriptures as well. But when I typed in Google Origins of Mother's Day, this would popped up. Okay, I'm just going to read it. Mother's Day. Historical research's celebrations of mothers and motherhood can be traced back to the ancient Greeks and Romans who held festivals in honor of the mother goddess Rhea and Cybele. Okay, now Rhea is the Greek form of that, and Cybele is nothing but the same thing, just the Roman name for it. Or they would call in the Romans Magna Mater, which means, I think something mother. You know what I mean? But it says, but the clearest modern precedent for Mother's Day is but the clearest modern precedent for Mother's Day is the early Christian festival known as Mothering Sunday. And of course, why is it always on Sunday? That's because they're giving honor, worshiping the mother goddess who Rhea was. And of course, they tried to later on put in America as Mother's Day. You need to honor your mother, do something good for your mother, buy your mother a gift, worship your mother. Like the Lord clearly said in Exodus, the 20th chapter, thou shalt not worship any gods before me. And that's what our people are tradition doing. And as soon as you don't say Happy Mother's Day to your mother and acknowledge the fact that it's Mother's Day, your mother acts like a goddamn demon to you, man. That's because this economy, not even economy, I'm sorry. This society is based off self-indulgence. You know what I mean? To indulge in yourself. People want to be glorified on their own, themselves. Okay? So I'm going to go deeper into this. Just bear with me if you can. And I'm going to type in origins of Rhea. Or Rhea. However you want to say. And who Rhea was pretty much, when you go to Greek mythology, she was the wife of Kronos the Titan. And they had children who were Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, so forth. That bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And Kronos ate all the other ones and ended up, wanting to eat Zeus, but she ended up getting rid of Zeus and fed Kronos rocks in replacement of Zeus. And they thought it was Zeus the baby. And he ate him, and Zeus grew up later on and cut his dad's belly open. And that's how that bullshit comes, So pretty much she's known as being the mother of gods. You know what I'm saying? That dang BS, that bull job. But I'm just going to go into this really quick. And it's the first thing that popped up. But I got a few other articles as well. All right, so it says, given name Rhea, gender feminine, usage Greek mythology, Latinized Roman mythology. Meaning in history, Latinized form of Greek. Rhea, meaning unknown, perhaps related to Rheo, to flow, ground. In Greek mythology, Rhea was a Titan, the wife of Kronos, and again, the mother of Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, Hestia. Also in Roman mythology, a woman named Rhea Silvia was the mother of Romulus and Remus, the legendary founders of Rome. Brothers went into Romulus and Remus plenty of times on the highways and byways. But I'm trying to find a real good one that I went into earlier. Actually, matter of fact, I think I know, so... Yep, had it right here. So again, if you did further research into it, it also says Rhea was also known in Rome as Magna Mater Goddess, which is right here. So I'm going to start from the top, and I'm going to be skipping around. All right. So it says the cult of Magna Mater, the Great Mother, is probably the oldest religion of all. And that goes back to that Queen of Heaven. Because people love worshiping the woman. And that vibration is really being pushed out right now when you look into Babylon. When people go to chivalry isn't dead, or chivalry shouldn't be dead. You should open a door for a woman. You should cater to your woman. It even got to the point now where you got these dudes bowing down on one knee to the woman, which is a form of genuflection. All in all, that goes into worshiping the women and how they claim the woman to be the creator of it all. And it goes back to Egypt and it goes back to Babylon. So that's all that, polite and all that stuff. That's what they be on, man. That bullshit. All right, so the earliest Stone Age sculptures depict the mother goddess. And an idol found in the Cato Hayuk, however it's pronounced, 6,000 years old, depict her in the form she later became. Oh, by the way, this is faculty.cua.education, just so it's up there and y'all see it. But I'm going to jump back to it. 6,000 years old, depict her in the form she later became worshipped as Cybele in Phrygia, or Phrygia, however it's pronounced, I don't know, as a seated woman flanked by two leopards. The worship evolved through the millennia, but the goddess remained a symbol of the powerful female forces in the universe. Many different interpretations appeared, and various cults have interacted and mixed ideas. Not much is known about her worship in ancient times, but in her incarnation as Cybele in ancient Persia, she started the cult, which would later evolve into the cult of Magna Mater in Rome. As a small child, she was put out in the wilderness to die, but instead of killing her, the panthers and lions nurtured her, and she grew up into an intelligent, beautiful, headstrong woman. Now, I want to pause right there, because it's always good thinking symbolically and stuff. You got the story of the angry, mad black woman who's been thrown in the world without a pot to piss in, and she had to be nurtured on her own. And through all her turmoil and suffering and raising kids on her own, that's where you get the whole independent black woman from, man. That's what that sounds like to me when I read that. I'm going to read that part again. It says, as a small child, she was put into a wilderness to die. She was put in front of harm's way pretty much, But instead of killing her, the panthers and the lions nurtured her. And she grew up into an intelligent, beautiful, and headstrong woman, a so-called proud black woman, man. All right. It is not impossible that she was a child mage who was later defied. She invented pipes and drums and magical medicines, and she used to heal sick children and creatures on the Persian countryside. Again, this is the Roman transliteration of Rhea. Of course, the Grecians were before the Romans, but it's all the same thing. But later on, this gets pretty interesting who they link this woman to when you go to ancient Egypt and ancient Babylon. Okay? Because again, she's also known, the mother goddess, known for reproduction, fertility. All right? She became friend of not only the animals and people, but also satyrs and other supernatural beings. She fell in love with Prince Attis, but their love story was tragic. The intense love of the divine Cybele was too much for the mortal prince, and he went mad, castrated himself, and died. The proud black woman, you know what I'm saying, can't handle her bullshit, man. So this cat went crazy and castrated herself. Again, this is all folklore dogma bullshit. It's just funny reading it, how it traces back to other stuff. Again, this is Mother's Day. This is where the origins of so-called Mother's Day comes from, where you're supposed to worship your mother and acknowledge your mother and honor her and pay homage to her and all that shit. So I'm going to continue. It says, Cybele, driven mad by grief, roamed around to sound pipes and drums, seeking her lost love. The links between the story and the cult, interesting, of Inanna, Ishtar, Asherah are quite obvious, and both cults influence each other heavily. And we know who Ishtar is. That's the goddess of fertility, of giving birth, the mother goddess, the queen of heaven, the mother of gods, like we read earlier about Rhea. Okay? History repeats itself. America's nothing but Babylon, Rome, Greece, Sodom, Gomorrah, Egypt, all the stuff put in one glad bag, shaken together and poured out on the table, and you got America. That's all it is, man. They doing the same shit they was doing back then. And Jake be the main ones doing this stuff, making music about it, Dear Mama, just honoring, just when I say honoring, I'm talking about worshiping the women, like polite and all that, man. And a lot of Jake does, man. Worshiping the woman. Okay. Now I'm going to continue. It says Atis was identified with Damuzi and Tammuz, other dead and resurrected gods. You know, that goes back to Babylon. And it referenced Ezekiel chapter 8 and 14. And I'm going to actually go to that real quick. But first and foremost, I'm going to read this in the blue letter, and I'm going to jump back to the story. All right. Ezekiel chapter 20. I'm going to start at verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt serve no other gods before me. And these people are worshiping this woman as being a divine deity, as being the mother nurturer, the mother of gods, the mother of men, the holy mother, you know. And even they got it on Sunday every year. It's always on Sunday. And I know back when I was in the world, when I used to go to church, and I know other brothers can probably vouch, but when we used to go to church, on that Mother's Day, they would bring up all the mothers on stage and give her homage and glory and do all that shit to her, man. But according to the scriptures, that's not right, man, because it's all about the Lord, man. There ain't no Mother's Day in the scriptures. The only thing in the scriptures that talks about woman being worshipped, when you go to the book of Jeremiah, where it talks about how we worship the King of Heaven, the Queen of Heaven, and made cakes upon her and lit candles up and incense and sacrifices and drink offerings to her, man. And that's the same thing y'all doing today, because on Mother's Day, y'all going to go to your mama's houses. Y'all going to pour her up, drink her a little bit, give her wine, you know what I'm saying, cook food for her, cater to her, pamper her, and be like, thanks a lot for everything you've done for me, Mom. You're going to give thanks to the mother. That's what y'all are going to be doing. But according to the scriptures, you're only supposed to give thanks to the Father, the Most High at that. That's what I mean when I say that, okay? Again, I'm going to read verse 3 again. Thou shalt not serve other gods before me, you know? But as we read down here, they're worshiping her. And again, it goes to the link up of Inanna, Ishtar, Ashereth, okay? And then when it brings up Damuzi, Tammuz, go to Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 14, which give me a sec. It's dope how these scriptures all link up. I'm going to start at verse 13. All right. He said also unto me, turn ye yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. And we're seeing that with our own eyes, man. Our people are doing the worst abominations, man. We're not supposed to be following these things, man. We ain't worried about these other nations doing it, man. They wicked anyway. They're heathen. But mainly it's our people that's pushing this worship the mother vibration out, man. The woman is God vibration. All right. Verse 14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. So I'm going to go to this really quick. Woman weeping for Tammuz. I'm going to click on that. And it says, sprout of life, a Samaritan deity of food or vegetation. All right. So I'm going to jump back to this, and I'm kind of going to go up to right where, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to start where it says she fell in love. So she fell in love with Prince Atis, but their love story was tragic. The intense love of the divine Cybele was too much for the mortal prince, and he went mad, castrated himself, and died. Cybele, driven mad by grief, roamed around to sound the pipes of drums, seeking her lost love. You know, that word that stuck out there was grief, okay? She was in grief. So I'm going to go to the etymology of this word, which is, I got the Etymology Explorer, you know. Some brothers use different ones. This is the one I use to find my root words. But I'm going to go to this grief, suffering, hardship, pain of mind arising from misfortune. Okay? So, you know, pain of mind arising from misfortune, grief. So I'm going to jump right back here to the blue letter. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth, but I'm just trying to go accordingly just to show these examples, you know. Ezekiel chapter 8 and 14 says, then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was toward the north, and behold, There sat women weeping for Tammuz. And when we're going back to this article, it shows Tammuz being Atis up here. And then down here again, it says Atis was identified with Damuzi and Tammuz. So these women they were weeping for him, just like how we read about Rhea, or whatever her name was pronounced, Cybele, how she was weeping in grief for him, you know? So it said identified with Damuzi and Tammuz, which Damuzi and Tammuz are the same thing, and other dead and resurrected gods. The cults were widespread, and Ezekiel mentioned the female worship of Tammuz in his lamentation over the spread of paganism in Jerusalem, because he was lamentating because our people were worshiping these other gods, okay? It says around 200 BC, the holy black rock of the goddess was moved from Phrygia, city of Pesinos, which had been the previous center of her worship. Rome became the new center, and her cult grew. The Romans identified Cybele with the Greek god Rhea and called her Magna Mater, the Great Mother. The priests of the cult were men who had castrated themselves in front of her image, but most of the followers were women. The cult was a tumultuous, noisy, and ecstatic affair which attracted many people. Only women and castrated men were allowed to attend the main celebrations of the goddess, which quickly Salakia, got the reputation of being less religious, ritual, and more wild orgies. But gossip went around about the indecencies and depravities of the cult. But due to the protection of influenced people, it avoided persecution. The cult was led by the female priestesses and Archigali, the high priest of the subordinate Gali, castrated male priest who was responsible for most of the dance, divination, and healing of cult. And honestly, when you go to the history, like, you know, what eunuchs are, you know, they were castrated men. And a lot of kings and rulers actually had castrated men over a group of women. You know what I mean? Over a group of harlots or women or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go to that really quick just for edification's sake, you know. But of course, we know there's different types of eunuchs, but, you know, one of the versions of eunuchs is a castrated male, okay? So I'm going to just, you know, go into the origins of this really quick just for edification's sake. Okay. So I'm going to go to this word eunuch. All right. And that word in the Greek is eunuchos, all right? And it's a bedkeeper, a bed guard, superintendent of the bedchamber, chamberlain. And this is the one. In the place of Oriental monarchs who supported numerous wives, like we read earlier, they would have a castrated male in there and a bunch of women, you know. In the place of Oriental monarchs who supported numerous wives, the superintendent of the women's apartment or harem, an office held by eunuchs. Any emasculate man, a eunuch in Oriental courts held by other officers of greater, held by Ethiopian eunuch mentioned in, you know, Acts 8 chapter 27 verse. You know, so pretty much, you know, we know it was a castrated man, okay? So the cult was led by female priestess in the Archigali, the high priest of the subordinate Gali, castrated male priests who were responsible for most of the dance, divination, and healing of cult. Many of the worshippers were organized into fraternities, most notable the Dentrophori, tree bearers, and Canophori, reed bearers. Members of these fraternities enjoyed a bit of social status and influence, and many important people flocked to them. The liturgy of the cult was in Greek. Many of the ceremonies commemorated the deeds of Magna Mater and her love to Atis, who, again, is Tammuz, who represented the fertility and plants of the land. By his castration and death, the land was given new life. Many festivals were held called ludi, which were plays, which were enthusiastic carnivals and banquets and comedic performances. So pretty much it was festivities that they would do in regards to that, you know. But, you know, it's a lot of information right here, you know, but it just pretty much it goes into the origins of the mother worship and where that stuff comes from, man. It always stems back to this paganism, man. And our people are the main ones celebrating this stuff, you know. I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah. Bear with me, Baba Kashaw. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18. And, I'm going to start at verse 17. And it says, seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? And this is our people it's talking about, man. That's exactly what our people were doing, man. They were worshiping other gods. That's why we're in the situation that we're in right now in this captivity, because we can't stop fornicating, man. Our people can't stop fornicating and being with these other gods, drinking these other wines, man. Our people just love tampering on the other stuff, man, and don't want to get to the program and worship the Lord. That's why that's why Yahweh Shem Yahushai has to kill a lot of these people, man, because they're going back to this pagan bullshit. Sorry, my phone went black. All right. Verse 18, the children gather wood, and the woman fathers kindled the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, said the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? And that's what our people was doing, man. Going back to these other gods, man. They just love doing wickedness, man. Like it says in the scriptures, our deeds have surpassed the wickeds our deeds have surpassed the wickeds, And we see it every day. And when you actually try to enlighten them about it and tell them about it, man, they say you going too deep about it. That's their favorite thing to say, But Jake ain't deep. That's why that's the first thing that they say. Our people ain't deep, man. They low level and they shallow, man. That's why 2/3 of them have to die, But, I just wanted to really just go into that really quick, man. It's all through the spirit. It was just on my mind to really do this. And, maybe brothers will put, lessons up about it too as well. Maybe pull out some other edifying information about it, man. But yeah, that worshiping the mother BS, man, that goes back to all of that, man. All these different deities, man. So when you're celebrating Mother's Day, just remember, for the people that's not in the camps and the truth that maybe watch this video, when you celebrate Mother's Day, you're celebrating the mother goddess Rhea. The mother of gods, So, again, hope this video is edifying. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.